Hey y'all, it's Morgan. Welcome to my happy place. So apparently this is my little fermentation corner at the moment. I'm going to try to do this rather quickly because I haven't been home much and there's a lot I need to take care of here. All right, so with the milk kefir, if you'll recall, I had put all of the kefir grains in 4 cups of milk. I actually had gotten that out the following day after that was shot. And placed it in another 4 cups of milk. Now, this one I did last night. Okay, it is 10 o'clock in the morning. So this is substantially less than 24 hours. And as you can see, it's already separated into curds and whey. One thing I didn't tell y'all about that you can do is when you remove the kefir grains out of here and put them into some fresh milk, if you let the kefir sit on the counter, it will continue to ferment because it's already inoculated with all the bacteria. So what I've done, I had some that I left on the counter, and I did pull, I let it separate into curds and whey, and I did pull it out of the jar. I put it in a dishcloth and kind of squeezed some of the liquid out. And this is what we have left. This is the curds. I can salt this, and if I want to give it any, flavorings with herbs, I can do that. But this is actually very much like cream cheese. It doesn't taste exactly like it, no, but it does have that sour, milky sour taste to it. So a little bit of salt, and it actually is quite good on crackers or for any other purpose. And you can use milk kefir in place of buttermilk in recipes. So that is something to be aware of. So what I'm going to do, I will now go ahead and separate this out. I'll get the my grains out. I'll put it in some fresh milk. And because this is fermenting so quickly now, and part of the reason it's fermenting more quickly is that it's kind of recovered from its transit time, but also the more you feed them, the more they grow. I don't know if volume-wise they have increased yet, but they will eventually. But they're definitely much hungrier. So as you can see, this is why I say that's one of the dangers. It can eat you out of house and home. If you don't have a good fresh supply of milk, or you just don't want that much kefir, you can take, I wouldn't do all of it, but I would take a couple of tablespoons, put it in, a good portion of milk, maybe a couple of cups of milk, put a date on it, stick it in the refrigerator, and you can kind of let them sleep. Now, when they come out of the refrigerator, they will be sleepy, and so you'll have to feed them a few times to get them to wake up fully. But anyway, this is what happens when it separates into curds and whey, and I will actually use the whey out in my chicken coop, or I may just feed it to them. They really like it. It's very good for them. But I don't have my tripod set up today, so I'm going to come back in just a second, and I will show you the next step. So I have my much larger strainer today. This is one of them that comes in the little set. And if I were going to try to save these curds as they are, to separate them from the whey, because it has the grains in it, I won't do it. But what I did for the other one is I would actually just scoop it out with a spoon and set them to the side. Therefore, I'm not mixing all of this whey back into it. But because that's not really what I'm going to do, I'm just going to plop them all in there. And, people have asked me before, well, what do I do if it accidentally gets too thick and I can't get my curds, or not my curds, get my grains out of it? Basically what you can do is what I'm doing here. You can separate it as best you can. If you need to mix some more regular milk in with it, you can, to make it thinner so you can retrieve them. Hang on, let me grab something. Okay, yeah, and these are quite thick, so I kind of just lift a little bit, try to let some of that'll go through on its own, and you can kind of see the grains in there. And when this gets a little bit lower, I'll probably shake it and tap it to get the looser stuff through. But yeah, you can just mix regular milk in there with it, and it's not going to hurt anything, because as it sits either in the refrigerator or on the counter, it's going to continue to ferment that fresh milk as well. Oop, if I don't dump them all back in there. And sometimes I've even taken a slotted spoon and just kind of pulled them out that way. But I try not to let it get this thick unless I'm wanting to use the curds. And my preference is to pull the grains out and just let it continue to ferment on the counter without the grains in it. But this definitely went much faster this time. So I'm going to come back in a second. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this stuff worked through. As you can see, I'm just kind of scooping, and it is, you know, on the mesh in there, it's kind of working some of it through. But this is going to be difficult to do one-handed, so I'll be right back. All right, so this is it. These are now the grains. They have, yeah, they've grown a bit. I have more. This is the kefir after I have just stirred it back in. You can see it's no longer separated. It's perfectly usable. As a matter of fact, it's probably better than had it not separated. I do like it a bit sour. You can always sweeten it up a little bit if you wish. But one of the things I want to show you, if I can find one, is, no, not there. I saw one and I wanted to find, here we go. This grain is very soft and doesn't have much form or shape to it. This is a new grain. This is one that has formed with the recent fermentations. As it gets older, it will firm up a little bit. You can see some of these have grown. Don't let that kind of slimy dissuade you. It actually is just part of the grains, and there's nothing wrong with it. As you can see, a lot of them have gotten much, much bigger. But this is how they multiply. And sometimes I even find little bitty, well, sometimes really tiny little baby, here we go, kefir grains in there. But yeah, so they multiply pretty rapidly. And like I said, if you're not careful, they can really start consuming a lot of milk. So what I will do now, I will pull probably half of these grains out, and I will separate them, and what is left, I will continue to do the 4 cups of milk. It's only been, geez, I don't even think it's been 12 or 13 hours since it's separated into curds and whey, since I placed all of these in 4 cups of milk. So I'll half the grains, keep the milk the same, because I will actually consume that amount of kefir today between me and the boys. But anyway, that's just a little bit more on them. And I did want to show you the cheese that you can make with them. But it's pretty fascinating stuff. And again, it's really healthy for you. I know it looks a little funky. One of my favorite recipes is I take about a cup of the kefir. I'll put probably an equal amount, about a cup of frozen blueberries and a little bit of honey, and blend it. And that will make 2 ginormous smoothies. And it has such a high protein content in it. The grains use sugar for their food. So a lot of the sugar that's in milk is used up, and that's why it becomes sour in taste. And so there's much less sugar and carbohydrates in the milk, but there is a lot of protein, and the fats are still there. So it actually is a really, really good high protein food source. And so by doing the smoothies, that actually can be a meal replacement. When I eat or drink them, I'm actually quite full. And so very often on busy days, that will be my lunch. Anyway, just a way to use them that I know, looking at this, if you're not familiar with it, it might look gross. But if you try that, then you might be surprised. If you buy the kefir in the stores, it's not as, it has preservatives in it sometimes. And the flavors are good, but I find them a little too sugary sometimes. But this you can make as sweet or sour as you like it. All right, y'all, that's it for now. I'm going to try to get online and post some of these. I've got about a week's worth stored that I haven't been able to get put up yet. So thanks for stopping in, and I hope to talk to y'all soon. Leave me some comments if you'd like.